Get good.
Welcome back to class, students. You know who it is. And now that you've completed the second dream, we can now discuss an actual Warframe Stigma. My child, so beautiful to behold. How do you feel? I feel like an underage person. What the fuck is going on? I know. Forgive me. This is who you really are. A Tenno. More than human, but once a child, like any other. What do you remember? I remember being old enough to call you a space MILF without it being weird. It was always weird, Tenno. I know, Lotus. I know. God damn it, Digital Extremes, company who made this game. Of all things you could have made the Tenno be, why kids? When I first experienced the second dream, I was amazed by the reveal. But then that excitement died down the more I thought of how young the Tenno are canonically. For the students who do not yet understand this decision, DE essentially intended to depict the badass space ninjas from a forgotten time as victims of a horrible circumstance. And what better way to depict such victims than to depict them as innocent, poorly misunderstood preteens?
We were just kids, but they were afraid of what we could do. When they tried to treat us like rats, I stood up to them. I wasn't going to let them divide us after what we've been through.
And this also makes it easier to depict the familial dynamic between the Tenno and the Lotus. It's a cute story and all, but there's a problem with this lore. Kids are garbage! Unless they're saying fuck every 5 minutes or smoking argon crystals, they make the game feel very not rated M for mature. Not only that, but let's analyze the reception of the Tenno. In the beginning, the Tenno were depicted as badass space ninjas from a forgotten time. They were disciplined warriors, equipped with ancient technology that the factions failed to replicate time and time again. Throughout the lore, they are either antagonized or revered. But for a long time, who they were and what they were remained a mystery, but with some clues as to their nature. And in the second dream, we found out that they're kids. God damn it, DE. From what I understand, that update divided a bit of the Warframe community. Plenty of players were disappointed in what they saw. Granted, that rage has died down a bit, but I still think about it here and there. I sometimes think about how the space child narrative could maybe work if DE had instead just led with that from the beginning. It has potential for a good story, but doesn't make for a big reveal. I don't want a cool thing to be revealed as a child thing. I'd rather the child narrative be introduced from the start and the creators build up from there. Start small and grow from there. But with what we have in reality, DE started big and shrunk. It would have made more sense if the kids grew up during their training or during the Old War, much like the Spartans from the Halo franchise. There would still be room to explore the child narrative from a psychological standpoint. Damn innocent little Ford beans! Also, I've been saying it for years, but think of the implications of the Organ telling the space kids to hop into those big booty frames. Look at Mesa Prime. DE actually edited the ass to appease the player base. Space kids walk around in that. Sure, it's a surrogate body that the Tenno project their minds into, but the transference allows them to feel through their warframes. Do they feel Mesa's ass cheeks clapping every time she takes a step? Do they feel Saren's titties bouncing with any movement she makes? Do they feel Rhino's thick codpiece? Do they even know what they're flaunting when using the Limbo Agile animation set? Look, I get it. I really do. I understand that the designs of the Warframes are for the eyes of the players. I get that it doesn't actually have anything to do with the Tenno themselves, but it's God Damn it, DE! Well, that's enough ranting. Let's move on to some actual education, students. Before I go into the new system you semi-unlocked, let's talk about where you are in the lore. Now is the time to compile everything you've learned until now, whether it be through my videos, the game itself, or the internet. I stated in episode 1 that the Tenno were space ninjas who use space magic to use the Warframes. But to be more specific, they were subject to the Void. I'm pretty sure you've played some Void missions at this point. It's essentially an interdimensional abyss outside of material space. The Void has the power to corrupt, amplify, or straight up change the properties of people and things. As you now know, the Tenno were kids who were exposed to the Void, and because they are Void-based, they have the greatest advantage against the Sentients. But to make the Nata quest make a bit more sense, you should scan the Stalker sometime. It gives context as to how the Orokin fell. Connecting the dots, you learned that the Lotus, a sentient infiltrator formerly named Nata, had the Tenno slaughter the Orokin. The plan was to have the Golden Lords believe they won the war with the Sentients. Hun Hao feigned death and lay dormant until Nata would finish the job, which included killing the Tenno. But you get the rest. The mysteries you found in the quests Stolen Dreams and the New Strange foreshadowed the return of the great sentient Hun Hao and the rest of them back into the origin system. Now that you've completed Second Dream, you may find sentients in certain nodes on Lua as well as more in later quests and activities. Now for game stuff. You have a system called Focus. In your current state, it doesn't have its full potential unlocked. And to make this easier, I'm going to spoil something. Yeah, Void being in a chair is not even your final form. Walking Void being is the true value. Though I have my own personal issues with that as well, but maybe I'll cover that some other time. To get a fully functional walking Void being, you must complete the quest, The War Within, after unlocking Sedna on the map. And you must complete the Plains of Eidolon quest, Saya's Vigil. You then go to a secret location in Cetus that can only be accessed when you have your Void being present. You will gain access to a new syndicate called the Quills. It offers equipment for your Tenno operator. Doing these will fully unlock your focus tree and give you access to Tenno-specific weapons called amps, which are sentient parts assembled into tools that modify a Tenno's Void attacks. If you ask me, they look like sentient dildos. I mean, look at this. And then look at the sentients. Now tell me they don't shove those into their big torso holes. If I'm mad at someone, I could just say, go shove an amp up your ass. Teshin, replace that stick with an amp. Hey Lotus. No, let's move on. Alongside the Second Dream, you also have access to Neptune, which is the best credit farming place in the game. You can either do Index or Neptune-specific Disruption. For Index, it's simple. Put in the down payment. Players and NPC enemies drop points on death. Collect those points and score before the timer hits 0, and profit. Take note that having a lot of points on you will debuff you hard. High risk, high reward. For Disruption, special enemy units drop conduit keys. Plug the key into the matching conduit, kill the approaching demolition unit before he suicide bombs the conduit. Do this 4 times per round, and profit. Besides Helene on Saturn, one decent place to level up your gear is Sanctuary Onslaught, which features endless waves of enemies much more frequently than defense missions. It is a simulation that is maintained by the efficiency of your performance. In other words, the greater the slaughter, the longer the simulation will last. and the longer the farm. That's a lot of work to satisfy Cephalon Samaris' thirst for bloodshed. Do keep in mind, it is a bit more difficult than the defense node on Saturn. So gear up, students. Honestly, you've reached a new milestone. Saturn was the big checkpoint for your progress in Warframe. But Second Dream is the midpoint. Well, part 1 of the midpoint. Part 2 would be completing the War Within and unlocking the Quills. In short, reach Sedna and the last few Void Nodes, and you will be a man. But for now, keep training, keep grinding, keep upgrading. Do what you need to do to get good. But hey, you've unlocked some new quests, so that's a pastime you can get into. I'm gonna end it here, students. The next episode will be post-War Within and Saya's Vigil. You've got a ways to go before that time. A lot of activities to do, paths to walk, a lot of sentient dildos to try out. Oh wait, you're not there yet. Never mind. Stay tuned and thanks for watching Warframe Stigma. They really should have had this from the start. God damn it, DE.